average federal loan has an interest rate of about 4%. The average private loan has an interest rate of about 12%. Don't lose your breath over the cost of college. In some cases, federal and state grants can cover the cost of college at a state four-year school without taking out student loans. Take advantage of these opportunities and fill out your FAFSA today.
Are you a cyclist? Do you run through red lights or stop signs? When riding your bike around town, please stop at red lights and stop at stop signs. Don't run red.
Don't run red. Don't run red.
When riding your bike around town, please don't run red. Thank you.
For more information, reach us at the Cambridge Commission for Persons with Disabilities at 617-349-4692 or visit www.cambridgema.gov/ccpd.
The human service workforce in Massachusetts has been growing dramatically by 67% over the last 11 years, but with demand still rising, there is a new warning of a possible crisis with many current workers either changing jobs or retiring. That's from a report commissioned by the Providers Council. To explain is our guest from the council, the president and CEO, Michael Weeks. Thank you very much for being with us, Michael.
Well, thank you, Chris, for inviting me.
To explain this about how it really matters here, who are the people served by these workers?
Sure. Well, we have a statewide membership of community-based organizations, primarily nonprofit. They're serving individuals with intellectual and physical disabilities, people with behavioral health, mental health challenges, homeless individuals, our veterans, our elderly, children and women at risk, a wide range of individuals throughout the Commonwealth, including those who are struggling with the opioid crisis here, are part of our workforce amongst many, part of the problems that we're working on among many others.
I imagine one reason you need more human service workers as opposed to fewer is that a lot of us are getting older and, well, it could be nursing homes or rehab that we have to look forward to.
Well, you hit on one of the key factors that are that's concerning us here in Massachusetts. We have what we think are the elements for perhaps a perfect storm. It's predicted in the next several years, at least 34% of the state's workforce is going to be less than what they are now. In fact, there's going to be somewhere in the range of 36,000 workers. At the same time, our population is getting older. And about a third of the state's population is going to be age 55 and older. And at the same time, we're going to have a decrease in the number of workers that are going to be here in Massachusetts as eligible. So we're going to have a demand, but we're not going to have enough workers to meet that demand.
What about the people who are in this workforce now? How would you describe the composition of this workforce?
Well, it's an interesting workforce. There's always people in our workforce who really care, and that, I think, what attracts them to this sector is they care about individuals. They want to make meaningful changes in their lives. And they do that by being involved in this workforce. We're primarily about 80% female. And interestingly enough, Chris, we did an informal poll survey somewhere around a few weeks ago. We found out that about 25% of our workforce currently are foreign born.
This is BNN News, and we're talking with Michael Weeks from the Providers Council. It doesn't hurt to have foreign-born workers, as you know, serving a population is getting more diverse. But you sound concerned about the foreign part because we could have new restrictions on new people coming into the country.
Exactly. We have a growing need, and that need primarily has been met over the past few years because we have had foreign-born labor that's come here and filled out the gap. So there's concern amongst our members throughout the state that without foreign-born workers, how are we ever going to meet the needs of the people here in the Commonwealth? And quite frankly, in order for us to provide services at a high level, it's about individuals. You know, it's not going to be technology that's going to solve the problems for us. We're going to need to have committed folks who are trained and at enough levels so that we can meet all the needs of the various populations we're talking about.
Well, this report mentions certain signs of strain that we have already because there aren't enough people on the job now, and there aren't enough people who have the necessary skills. Elaborate on that.
Well, you got to think of it this way, Chris, is that, you know, our sector is what we call the state's other first responders. They're the people that are out there if a person is homeless that needs a home. They're out there trying to find a home for them. If there's a child or a woman at risk and they're fleeing an unsafe situation, they're responding to that. They're responding to a person that might be going through a crisis with opioid problems and other drugs. So we've got the state's other first responders. So it's imperative that we have an adequate workforce there to respond to those particular needs. And without that, it puts stresses throughout our system, and that's not really the Commonwealth we want. We want a Commonwealth in which people's needs are being met.
I know these jobs give you the satisfaction of doing something essential for people who have acute needs, but on the other hand, some of them are very stressful and just sometimes just unpleasant. I mean, doesn't that make it hard to get new people to fill the vacancies?
Well, I think the people that we find are people that really care about individuals. They want to make a change in their lives. They understand that not everything that happens is going to be pretty and nice, and that some people are going to have some difficult and challenging times, and they're going to need people that are going to have to help them through that. And that's what we look for at the human services sector. We know that in many of our lives, we may need help. As we get older, we may need someone that's going to help us along and help us get things, and for that, we have a workforce that's doing that. That's what the human services sector is. This is about providing supports to people when they're in need. Sometimes it's situational, sometimes it's incidental, and sometimes it could be something by birth in which they're going to need lifetime support. But those are the kind of jobs that are important in our sector, and without them, it puts stresses on others because, quite frankly, many of the people in the Commonwealth wouldn't be able to go to work if they didn't have someone that was taking care of their loved one, that was making sure that their child was getting adequate child care or their elderly parent was being cared for. That's what our sector is about.
Well, this is a field or sector that has to contend with some market forces because a lot of people, they get some training, they might even get a degree to get one of these jobs, and
Hello and welcome to another episode of your Human Service News and Information. I'm Hassan Rashid, your host, and I'll be here with you for approximately 25 more minutes. It's excellent being here with you, and it's such a great achievement to come into your lives like we do here daily at CCTV. And with that, I extend the ancient universal cordial of peace out to you. Peace be unto you. Okay, I guess the opening video was an interview with Michael Weeks, who's the chairman of the Providers Council, the former Massachusetts Providers Council on Human Services. I think that's right. But they changed the name to Providers Council, and they were discussing the issue of employment and the fact that they estimate or survey, prognosticate that there won't be enough jobs in the state of Massachusetts for human service workers in the coming years. But we're going to stay tuned to that subject to share with you any further developments on the fact that the human service employees are in fear of not being able to secure or anchor themselves in human service jobs in the future. So we're gonna try to get back to that, okay? But today I'd like to let you know of some new developments up in the State House, okay? The Senate Committee on Ways and Means released its official year 1800 budget recommendations on homelessness, housing, benefits, and other issues. This morning, the Massachusetts Senate Committee on Ways and Means released its version of, again, the official year 1800 state budget, okay? We are thrilled to report that the Senate Ways and Means has recommended, okay, now this is what they're recommending, okay? A 5.5 million increase to residential assistance for families in transition program to bring the funding to 18.5 million, the retention of language that will allow families of all configurations to assist the programs include elders, people with disabilities, and unaccompanied youth, and earmark of up to 2 million to serve households without children under 21. Okay, language to ensure that the families experiencing homelessness are able to access the emergency assisted family shelters programs. Okay, that's line item 7004 and -0101 before being forced to stay in place not meant for human habitations. Okay, an increase in funding to serve unaccompanied youth and young adult experiencing homelessness to 2.5 million, up from fiscal year 17 funding levels of 2 million and 2 million more than the House recommended. That's fiscal year 18 funding levels of 500,000. Okay, an investment of 100,000 million in the Massachusetts renters vouchers program. Okay, a 13.5 million increase over the fiscal year final fiscal year 17 funding levels, so as to provide 350 to 400 new housing subsidies. Okay, and increase the home-based benefits so that families can access up to 10,000 to be diverted from entering shelters or rehoused from emergency assistance shelters, up from current 8,000 family cap. An increase to the alternative housing voucher program, an increase of to $300 child for the annual clothing allowance for children participating in transitional aid to families with dependent children's program. Okay, so we are so grateful to State Senator Stan Rosenberg, Senate Karen Spica, Chair of Senate Ways and Means, and the full SWM committee for their support of many of the coalition's key budget priorities. Our work is not finished yet, however. Okay, we are working with Senator Jason Lewis and Senator Julian Cry on 2 youth homeless amendments. So that's the Massachusetts Council Coalition on Homelessness, and they were able to advocate for some of these improvements that are stated in these the Senate's Ways and Means Committee's recommendation for the fiscal year 18,000 budget. So all of you who are participating, advocating for some of these changes and accomplishments, okay, you can say there's great accomplishments if they approve this budget, and there will be a lot of increases for homelessness, housing, benefits, and other issues. Okay, so once again, I'd like to congratulate you all who advocated for these issues and priorities, and also I'd like to get you to thank your representatives for pushing these issues forward into the Massachusetts Senate Committee on Ways and Means. Okay, so we're going to be hearing more about these budget developments later on, I guess later on in the year, as they arise here, and we're going to definitely share them with you on your Human Service News and Information. I'm Hassan Rashid. You know, it's always excellent being here with you. Okay, I had another video prepared for you, but I want you to hear a little bit more of a CEO, Mr. Meeks, and his interview on the employment crisis as it relates to unemployment of all those who are found in the Human Service MOSAIC here in Massachusetts.
Okay. After working very hard, taking a lot of stress for a few years in the nonprofit world, they prefer a state job with nice benefits and maybe better hours. How do you get around that?
Well, one of the things we're proposing, and we're doing this through some legislative actions that we're taking, filing bills to really raise the pay of the salaries of the people that are working in this field should get. We know that the pay is not what it should be, and it's not competitive. And quite frankly, we understand when people are leaving because in order for them to live in a state like Massachusetts, which is one of the states in which it's affordability is not something that we find easy here, that they're going to need some more pay in order to do that. So we're taking some actions in that regard to ask the legislature to provide more support, more money, and let's try to get some parity between what they're getting paid and what is really comparable pay for others. The other thing we're looking at is some relief for loan repayments. We want people that are college educated, that are really, because of the skills they need, the talents, the education they need in order to provide the care, very often they need to have a bachelor's degree. But we know that costs money too. So we're asking the state to help us with a loan repayment bill so it makes it easier for them to be involved in our services and also help them to pay for their colleges. So those are two quick things that we're looking for. And there are other things with health insurance that we're involved in. And we have to do some work better with how do we make these jobs more attractive, to seem more attractive than what they are. So we've got work to do in that regard. But it's a great field and a great sector, and it's absolutely essential for the residents of the Commonwealth.
Ultimately, a lot of these jobs are funded from the state budget, the state struggling to contain healthcare costs, and now we have the federal government maybe cutting Medicaid, who knows? I mean, how are you going to... The human service workforce in Massachusetts has...
Okay, I'm going to cut in here and remind you that it is very hot outside. It's pretty near 90 degrees. And tomorrow they expect the same too, typically go up to 9. So I advise you to keep plenty of water in your system so that you can regulate your body with this temperature and avoid things like, you get dehydrated or dehydration. Okay, so a lot of water, prevent dehydration. It's hot outside. Okay, I'd like to congratulate Joanne Bigsby. And a lot of people might know who Miss Bigsby is, but she's just getting the promotion, okay? That's the South African partner's name, Judy Ann Bigby, Executive Director, okay? South African partner, Boston-based nonprofit that seeks to build mutual beneficial partnerships between the United States and South Africa in the areas of health and education. This week announced that Judy Ann Bigby has been named Executive Director. Bigby chosen following an international search succeeded Mary Tissau, co-founder of South Africa's partner, who stepped down after leading the organization for 30 years. So I congratulate Ms. Bigby, who was a high official in the Governor Patrick's last governor's administration. So she's got another promotion. She landed on her foot. Okay, on her feet. Okay, and another thing before we leave you today, I'd like to remind you that Supreme Court Justice Stephen Breyer is to speak at the Cambridge Public Library. That's on Democracy Day on Saturday, May 20th. That's Supreme Court Justice Stephen Breyer to speak at the Cambridge Public Library, Democracy Day on Saturday, May 20th. That's a Saturday, May 20th at 1:15 at the main library lecture hall, okay?
It's been growing dramatically by 67% over the last 11 years, but with demand still rising.
Okay, tolerate me until I get this straight out. Okay, thank you. Okay, Justice Breyer will speak on the theme of the Constitution and democracy, followed by question and answer session. This event is part of the Our Path Forward series presented by the library to affirm its commitment to public discourse and democracy. So don't you hold out on that date. A lot of things are going so that day. So this is one of them. So you be sure to make the library, put your library on the list of the places you want to stop for that May 20th. There's a big rally going on down in the Boston Commons too that same day. So Supreme Court Justice Breyer once again to speak at Cambridge Public Library May 20th at 1 p.m. It's 449 Broadway, Cambridge, Massachusetts. So you forget to get on over there May 20th, okay? And the Mass Senior Action Council Cambridge chapter meeting. That's Friday, May 19th, 12:30 to 12:30 p.m., Cambridge Senior Center, 806 Massachusetts. Struggle for peace in the Trump era. Join our special guest, Professor Jonathan King of Mass Peace Action, to discuss how does the peace movement affect seniors. Mass Peace Action, that's plus. Get tickets to our 36th annual celebration luncheon to honor the MOSAIC amazing work this year. Tickets are $20 for members. Events will be June 29th at 11 a.m. So you'll probably be hearing more about that on your Human Service News and Information. Quite a ways off before June 29th. All are welcome. Refreshments and 50/50 raffle. For information, call Pam. That's 781-864-2596. That's Mass Senior Action Council Cambridge Chapter Meeting Friday, May 19, 12:30 p.m. Cambridge Senior Center Avenue. And the theme of this event is entitled Struggle for Peace in the Trump Era. And join our special guest, Professor Jonathan King of Mass Peace Action, action to discuss how does the peace movement affect seniors. Once again, it's how does the peace movement affect seniors. Okay, I'm Hassan Rashid. I had a report on the Cambridge Summers Farmers Markets, but I don't have the information yet. But as soon as I'll get that, I'll pass that on to you and let you know how you can go out and secure for yourself fresh vegetables, fruits, etc., and other produce at the Cambridge Summers Farmers Market. I don't know if they're back in full swing yet, but I'll find out next time you see me on the air. Okay, so I want to get on out of here and close up the broadcast with return to the Michael Weeks interview. I'm Hassan Rashid. You know, always advise you to keep your nose clean, play it straight, and don't forget to assist someone in need of your help. It's hot out there, and drink a lot of water so that you won't suffer from dehydration. You know, you overlook a little thing like a glass of water may cause you some serious trouble. So until next time, I leave you with the universal greeting, cordial, and that is peace be unto you.
There is a new warning of a possible crisis with many current workers either changing jobs or retiring. That's from a report commissioned by the Providers Council. To explain is our guest from the council, the president and CEO, Michael Weeks. Thank you very much for being with us, Michael.
Well, thank you, Chris, for inviting me.
To explain this about how it really matters here, who are the people served by these workers?
Sure. Well, we have a statewide membership of community-based organizations, primarily nonprofit. They're serving individuals with intellectual and physical disabilities, people with behavioral health, mental health challenges, homeless individuals, our veterans, our elderly, children and women at risk, a wide range of individuals throughout the Commonwealth, including those who are struggling with the opioid crisis here, are part of our workforce amongst many, part of the problems that we're working on among many others.
I imagine one reason you need more human service workers as opposed to fewer is that a lot of us are getting older and, well, it could be nursing homes or rehab that we have to look forward to.
Well, you hit on one of the key factors that are that's concerning us here in Massachusetts. We have what we think are the elements for perhaps a perfect storm. It's predicted in the next several years, at least 34% of the state's workforce